Aloha Kohala. You're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. This is Intuitive Talk Story. It's 2:59 on July 7th, 2021. I'm here with my co-host,
Michal Anna.
And this is a live show. And we're going to talk a little bit about managing your energy today. We've been kind of tuning into what's alive, what we feel might be valuable for you all to hear about today, and this is what's coming up for us. If you have any questions, please call at 884-5657 or text me. I have my phone. I'll glance at it occasionally. What do you think?
Well, so many things when it comes to energy management. So, of course, we have our energy of the body and managing our own physical boundaries, space, our mind space, and our energetic space. So one of the things that I've been noticing a lot that I want to first touch on is I've been around a lot of kids and even adults, everyone really. I've just been thinking a lot about our relationship technology and humanity.
You mean like phones and computers and social media and all that.
And Siri and Alexa and the myriad of smart devices and ovens and smart. You can. We just got an AC unit. You can attach it. It's a smart AC.
Yeah.
It could be attached to that system.
Yes.
For instance. So this relationship that we're creating with technology, which of course, nothing in and of itself is, we love technology, we love advancement, we love all those things, but we also have to have a responsible relationship with the things that we're creating. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, but I think it's getting a little out of control. What do you think?
I do find that there's, it's like anything that we get involved in, we need to find a balance between when it's useful for me to be on my phone or on my computer and when it's distracting me from the people that I'm living with. I have encountered social situations where people are on their phones at a meal. Mm-hmm. And it's like, on one hand, I want to be able to maybe have a text conversation with a friend far away or relative far away. But on the other hand, if they're at dinner, I don't expect them to respond to me in that moment. So there's this finding boundaries. That's something that we were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. What are your boundaries around your devices and AI? And really, it's about every kind of boundary there could ever be about difference, just differences of opinions about things. We have so many topics in our world right now that we may hold opposite opinions, or it may seem like we're on opposite sides of something. And it's important that we have our boundaries so that we're not telling someone else, hey, you know what, you're supposed to do it this way because this is the truth. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, is it the truth or is it my truth? And is it in my reality? And yours maybe is a little different.
Well, yes. Okay, so that gets into like our boundaries within a conversation, how we speak to one another, if we're in judgment, which kind of speaks on some of the things we talk about. Are you running programs? Are you running judgment? Are you running something, defensiveness, that's getting in the way of having a neutral discussion? So ultimately, that's getting into neutrality in both individuals, no matter what you believe or where you come from, being able to drop into a neutral place and listen, seek to understand. I'd like to understand your point of view. I already understand my own.
And don't we? We understand it so well.
Right,
yeah, and we
so
feel
well.
Sometimes we have to push it to somebody else versus just listening to what their point of view might be. Yeah.
Right. And if we can seek to understand, it doesn't mean we're going to agree, but it means you're going to understand why someone is making the choice they're making. And then you can have empathy or compassion or a sense of camaraderie or, I get you. I feel heard. Validation, right? And that's really because none of us are on the same journey. And as you said, you're having a different reality than I'm having in each and every moment. I love this little story of like the realtor who is taking people and to come into your nice small town, any small town, whatever town you'd like. Yeah. And the people go, so what are the people like here? She goes, well, what are the people like back home? Well, they can be kind of, mean-spirited, and our neighbors don't really talk to one another. And it's not very nice. People aren't very nice to one another. And the realtor says, well, people are like that here too. And then another couple comes and looking for another house, and same question. What are the people like here? What are the people like where you live? Oh, we have community barbecues. We're so together. We love one another. It's a really awesome community feeling. The people are like that here too.
Yeah. That's
because
a great
you
story.
will draw to yourself whatever you're vibrating in, which
Yeah.
we talk about
Yeah.
every time we talk,
Yeah.
because it's all vibration. It's all energy.
Yeah.
These topics we are dissecting are just really from this bigger pool of, well, it's just all that it is, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we're dissecting it out and playing with the concepts and all of those things, right?
That reminds me of the natural law of like attracts like. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. You attract to you what your vibration is, and what your thoughts are, and what your feelings are, and what your desires are, and there's you like to say this all the time. There's nobody else out there, right?
Nobody out there.
There's nobody out there but you.
Ella.
So it's you're creating your reality, and that's something that's all part of. I feel like everything we talk about is so intertwined
all
with
one
everything
thing.
else. It's all one thing. We really don't need to talk about it for hours on end, but we do anyway.
do.
Because there's so many different nuances to these topics that we talk about spirituality, or about relationships, or what's happening right now energetically in the world. There's lots of different labels one can put on it. But I feel like the intention that we talk about having is whatever can maybe click for somebody that helps them, that they find a new tool to use in their life to make their life more wonderful. Because ultimately, more wonderful is where we want to be going.
Or I would even say this, just free. So
Free,
to
yeah.
not have, because we can tend to even put a judgment. Is it good? Is it bad? Am I
Yeah.
feeling happy? Am I feeling sad? But in a state of acceptance and peace, we come into a place of neutrality where it thinks not that everything's always good, right?
Right.
But even when things are bad or seemingly bad,
Tough
challenging,
challenges. Yeah.
you have the tools to meet it because you have peace in your spirit and the neutrality to approach it, and tools to then meet that from a place of love and connection. Therefore, it doesn't knock you out and make you, I'm dealing with such horrible stuff.
Right.
Oh my
Right.
God. You don't have to go to that place because I have the tools to meet this situation, because it's not hitting a trauma, not hitting a wound, a trigger in myself. I'm not putting up a defense. I'm not running a program. So I'm able to be present and be in neutral space and observe and seek to understand. And that's what that's the goal for all of us, right? Get into this place of neutrality.
And I think it's important. I know there are moments where I'm really very skillful at that. And then there are moments where I'm not so skillful at listening without some judgment, or I can feel like I'm reacting to something somebody's saying. And I'm like, I get curious, like, what am I reacting to this for? But I'm not able to really be present with them in that moment with whatever they're saying or experiencing, because I'm having my own story over here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going on.
So I think
Most of the time.
the awareness of that is what I find important. It's like, oh boy, I'm reacting to this. I'm like, hold on. I can't really be present with you right now because I'm having some my own stuff I got to clear.
Yes.
Let's give me 5 minutes,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've talked about that a lot, which is dealing with our triggers, right? And finding where our wounding is, because that's really wounding. And please reference any of our past shows, because we have so much material on these things, on removing wounding. We're not really focusing so much on that today, but there is a lot on that, and that's what that is, programming. So let's talk a little bit about that energy management. You said things that make you not be present.
Yes.
One of those is our own programming, our own wounding that we embody and we choose by, I'm not good enough, or, they think something of me because my internal judge comes up, or the internal defense, which is attached to some wound or trauma that I have not yet healed or brought back my power for, right? So that's one thing we're dealing with, which, again, we have lots of material on that. The other thing we're dealing with is our outside influences, and this gets into the technology, which
Yeah.
is the energies around us. We are in a
Right.
grid of energies and that are talking to one another, having conversations, and we are electromagnetic beings. We're electric, we're electric, woogie, woogie, woogie. So we have the ability to be conductors, to be conduits of all of this energy. And we think about our relationships with our phones. I was watching a special. I am definitely not a tech expert by any means. I say that now. But I was, but I do think about these things and our relationship to it. And if you look at, I was watching a film that was talking about AI in this time period, discussing the kind of 3 types of AI. The first one is the artificial neural intelligence, which is kind of where we're at with Internet of Things, the smartphones, all of those things are that. Then you get into AI general intelligence, and then you get into AI super intelligence, which is the one connected platform, which is kind of what they're moving towards with this 5G, 6G, and the Silk. This film was discussing this. The new Silk Road that they want to build from China to Africa. You're aware of that?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay, that's a big thing to check out.
Yeah.
Big. So that's a network to connect all of these from China to the Middle East to Africa. Okay, that's also going to be a network of technology. Now, what that was talking about is the different things we can do in those layers. We have Internet of Things, smartphones, but then we get into, at that general layer, we get into robotics. We get into manufacturing robots that can feel, sense, have emotion. They say even have vices, lust, jealousy, greed, can feel hate, right? Now you're talking about an intelligence that can do that. And then that next step is that super intelligence, which is one really intelligent mind navigating a whole system. Now we're not, so the thing is that so there was also talking about how the AI, your phone is literally right now monitoring your health, your biometrics, everything about you, and it's categorizing it and it's sending it over to Google, and AI is learning about every single human and is on its way to surpassing our knowledge, right? If it's collective knowledge. So what happens then? Right? And so these are things to think about now in our relationship that we're building to it. How do we want to form that relationship? Because you can see how it's beginning to infiltrate and literally merge. There's merging going on. We're merging with things. There's so much technology, guys. Check it out. If you have not checked any of this out, just go online, look at robotic bugs. They can make mosquitoes. They have drones. They have all these bugs that are built for surveillance, can deliver things. I mean, there's so much technology, and we just don't really. I never really thought about it, until more recently. It wasn't something on my radar, something I think about.
Well, it was on my radar the other day because I was at one of our favorite beach parks the other day with somebody else, and a drone came by, and I'm like, we left. I'm like, I'm not comfortable with something coming down with a red light looking at me and just going. And I know the person who was doing it, he was probably just having fun.
Sure.
But there was this feeling for me of in my space, besides the fact that it makes a noise that's pretty annoying when you're at this beautiful, natural beach where you're listening to the waves gently hit the shore, and you hear the kids laughing as they're playing in the water, and then there's this buzzing sound. And I thought, a few years ago I was at a national park, and there were like 50 of these buzzing sounds, and I thought, there are again boundaries. Where are the boundaries that we have, whether it's with that or with something else, where we're not invading the space and the nature and the beauty of who we are as humans and what we have here on this planet. And as you're talking about this whole AI thing, what came to me is we are already one. We can connect energetically without this. This is, the phones and stuff, they're fun, but I don't need that to know how my kid is doing in New York. I can feel it energetically, so we can connect energetically with one another. So anyway, when you're talking about all this one with the computers, I'm like, we're already one if we can all continue to raise our own vibrations and evolve and expand our consciousness, we're able to communicate telepathically and be there with one another and share mana.
So let's talk
Across
about
the
that
miles.
for a minute. Look, the computer. I was reading just before I came about that first. Then I told you the neural network, the artificial neural network.
Yeah.
It's defined as being modeled after the human brain, like
Sure.
being modeled like the human brain to have connection points, all different connection points that neural networkly connect and make this system, right? So now think of this: AI models itself after the human, divine. I'm going to say Christ. Divine being,
Yeah.
light being, and again, you can say there. Do you want to say the things we talk about do not reflect the beliefs and ideas of the radio
yeah,
station?
Wait, let me say that. We'll have the opinions, beliefs, and views of the hosts do not necessarily reflect those of KNKR or their affiliates.
There you go. So our divine template, our Christ-light divine DNA template, we are, again, electromagnetic, infinite, energetic beings. We have light batteries within us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, AI, when you think about it, well, what is AI? I mean, it has all knowingness. It can have all information, tons of it. You can know anything, anywhere, at any time, all encompassing, all wise. But what are we lacking? Creativity, compassion, God. In essence, God. Call it whatever you like.
That pure divine spark that
divine
we all
source,
come from.
cosmic light, divine infinite source.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna throw out a concept here, and I've spoken about the power of three quite a bit over time, and I'm just gonna do an example here of what I've talked about the power two and looking out for that. I think a little bit, but I'm gonna bring it up here. Let's say, right? You've got what is AI? It has two things. It's the two. It's infinite wisdom, infinite mind, infinite body, but it doesn't have that creative energy, that creative spark. It's only sitting in duality, right? It's hierarchy where we have two choices. I can make bad or good. I can't go anywhere else. I have to choose this or that. That's all I got. I'm going to stay in this three-dimensional field of this or that, good and bad, forever. The black and white checkerboard, right? Or I can connect the triangle and have the power of three. Now I have three things, and those three things, as I stand here, I move out of duality. I recognize that these good and bad is all me, that's all part of who I am. And it's actually only in recognizing the pink elephant in the room, shining the light on the things that scare us under the bed, that we go, oh, I'm not scared of that. That's just, I see it now. There's nothing to be afraid of. When I've met my darkness, I can then make free will choices and choose. And then I choose to stand in, not to play on this line, but to stand in, I'm going to go into neutrality, where there's connection to divine source energy. And I realize unity. And unity, like you just said, I think we're all connected. So that's where you go into the knowingness of being all connected, that we're unified consciousness of the infinite source, having an experience of itself, and in essence picking up our pieces to remember who we are, so you can remember I am that I am.
Well, there you go. You are. Well, so I feel like as we're talking about this, when I feel into the whole AI concept, it's at a lower vibration for me than talking about unity consciousness and evolving
absolutely
as human beings.
You can feel it.
There's an aliveness that I feel when I think about how we can expand our consciousness, we can expand our gifts, be able to communicate with one another telepathically more and more and more, where when we talk about the AI and what it is, what it isn't, what it could be, it's just stuff to me. I mean, it just feels like it's, like you say, it's kind of grounded in 3D. And aren't we moving to 5D? So, not right or wrong, just maybe...
Choice. It's a choice.
Yeah, maybe understanding what it is and what it's good for, and getting the most out of what it has to offer without letting it overtake our lives.
So you talked earlier about timing. So time management, obviously, just on the practical level, is a good place to start with for everyone in their devices. Give yourself X amount of hours that you utilize the device to accomplish X amount of tasks.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm on the phone for. That's what I'm on the device for.
Yeah.
And then I get off of the device. You know, I stand up and I do 15 minutes of yoga, or I incorporate breath work for a little bit, or I just, you know, take a break, whatever
Yeah.
it is you need, that
Yeah.
you begin in time managing so that you're actually incorporating sunshine, fresh air, you know, getting out into doing a project, thinking about something creatively, having a moment for magic. It's really
Yeah.
important. You
Yeah.
can't actually discover yourself if you don't give yourself moments to have opportunity to do so. So,
Right.
for instance, one thing that it's a real great example. We come from no phones. I grew up with no phone. You grew up with no phone.
Well, we had a phone on the wall.
Well, no phone on our pocket. Yeah, we had a phone on the wall, corded to the wall.
Yeah.
And you waited till you got home. But we also
Yeah.
meant we played. And when we went and played
Yeah.
after school, it's like be home by dark.
Yes.
Your
Same
friend,
thing.
you're 2 miles away. You've ridden your bikes.
Yeah.
Your friend falls down on his face, and now we got to figure out how to get him back, get the
Right.
bike that's mangled, and we got 2 miles, and we got to make it happen. And
Yep.
it's getting dark.
And we're going to
And
get
we're
in
going to get
trouble
in
if
trouble
we
if we
don't
don't get home. So we got to like figure this out. We're going to help each other. Okay, grab the bug, get this thing, grab the
Yeah.
screw, get the tire, Billy. Whatever, you're going to
Yes.
do all that. You're going to figure it out. You're going to
Ingenuity.
use common sense, creativity, ingenuity, and you're going to work together.
Right.
You have to find ways to connect.
Right.
Okay, so this is a really formative experiences that you have every day with friends playing
Right.
and connecting. Even fast forward all the way up into that's when you're young.
Okay.
Technical issues.
Technical moment.
It's all right.
We're okay.
Everything's okay. But yes, even if you're fast forward to when you're older, I just still didn't have a phone, even in college, right?
Yeah.
You read a map. You went places.
Yeah.
You're driving. You had to
Yeah.
read a map. You had to take down directions. Take a left. Make a circle around the L. That's a left. Does
Yeah.
anybody know that now? I don't know. Make a left at
No,
Hudson
I
Street,
think about
right?
that because I'm a big map person.
Right.
I loved maps because I like to see big pictures. And to me, you look at a map, you see the big picture, whether it's your city, your state, the world, whatever. You're seeing an overview of something. And I miss that with your basic, GPS directions. They get you right there and it's so efficient. But there's a little something that we miss in that process.
So I want to suggest that what's happening is a deterioration of our logical brain, and a deterioration of using those common sense skills, because you just get dependent on Siri. Where's the blah blah?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Google Maps. Where is it? People aren't thinking. They're not utilizing the connections. And if they say
Yeah.
it. If you don't use it, you lose it. So we're not using and making these connections. So as you know, I'm a dancer, right?
Yes.
And that honestly has made me smarter and smarter and smarter over the years.
Yeah.
From doing left-right brain coordination and exercise and body function and brain work, because you're not only that, you're remembering choreography, and then you're doing multiple things at one time. So we have to exercise our brain in order to achieve connected pathways. And what AI is doing and what the computers and the devices is it's creating a distraction and an excuse for us to not exercise our logical brains or our common sense brain. And so if you think about that, that's on the left side of your head. So think about this left side of the brain getting kind of melted down. And you know what? There was an ad once, and they literally told you on a Hulu ad. They said, "We're here to make your brains like mush until we can just scoop it out and eat it."
Oh, God.
And so, I mean, really, it's mushing your brain. So, you think about that, and then this gets into a little energy management around the device beyond time management, actually using it. So now I'm going to get into a little bit of the energetic tools, and we've talked about this, strands. Think of spider webs. You've all walked through a spider web, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, God, is it on me? Oh wait, I don't know.
Yeah,
And you're like, oh, I still think it's on. I feel something. Okay, well, sometimes you walk through one and you didn't really realize it later. Like, God, I think there's been a web on my foot, right? So just like nature shows us the whole story right here in front of us. So you go to the grocery store and, you know, maybe a family is having a really hard time in the aisle 5 minutes before you're in there. They're fighting in that aisle.
Yeah.
They left a bunch of spider webs in the aisle. You walk through the aisle and you're like, you get it all over you. You don't know. And you're like, gosh, I feel really annoyed and irritated, feeling really anxious. And really, you just picked up some spider webs, some energies that aren't your own. You just walked into them, not on purpose, but it just got on you like a web. And all you really need to do is clear it away. And you can do that simply by using your voice. So this is the best part, is that you are powerful right here, right now, today. Like,
you know, I think I did that today. So I'm interested to hear you say it, because I went to Kona and I was very anxious driving to Kona. And I wasn't quite sure, you know, why. Like, what am I feeling anxious about? There was plenty of time to do everything and get back. And I really never got to the answer. But maybe the answer wasn't important. The clearing was the important part.
Right. And this goes into a foundational principle that you are a spirit having a physical experience. If you start your energy there, you approach everything differently, right? That begins the whole process. So before I'm going to go anywhere, it's an energetic experience, right?
Yeah.
So it shows up last here. This is the last place it happens. So we just let's do it right now together. Everybody join us in this process. Let's do it now. Like I said, you can be powerful right now. Because right now you can claim your sovereignty. So we can start with just that. Start with first, I am free. I am sovereign, I am love.
I am free, I am sovereign, I am love.
And we're going to say everything 3 times just to lock it into that power of 3. So I am free, I am sovereign, I am love. I am free, I am sovereign, I am love.
I am love. I am free, I am sovereign, I am love. And feel it. Where do you feel it in your body?
Yeah, you start to feel that, right?
Not just saying it in your head, but start to drop it down into your body.
Correct.
Yeah.
Speak with intention. Words you need intention. Thank you, Eila.
Yeah.
So as you're feeling into that, feel now into that you're really claiming that I have the power. Nothing can be taken from me. Feel into that energy, and that I just wish now to release. I ask my guides, if you work with guides already, and that's angels, guides, however you want to say something. Ancestors, you know, helpers. Ask your helpers now, like, hey, helpers, help me clear any energies from me. I clear now all transmuted energies from my being. And you can take your hands and just go off your body. And use your breath. And let's try that one more time. And I want you to really feel this, like I'm blowing it away.
Not to you, though.
Not to, yes. Good point. So right now, let's just intentionalize that anything we're letting go of, because we don't want to put dirt all over our beautiful room. We wouldn't dust all over the floor.
Right.
So we're going to intentionalize that all this energy that doesn't belong to us go to the other side of the veil called death, to be healed and brought into the light.
Beautiful.
And so it is. So we, again, use our breath and let it go. Now, again, the other thing we want to do is cut cords with all sentient beings. Now that gets into cords with humans, but now we get into cords with what we were talking about. Threads all over, right?
Yeah. Just slow down a little bit, because that is a complex concept for a lot of people. So as you're talking about cords, even saying what that means to you when you say, we're going to cut the cords, because we've had the conversation before where I'm like, well, I still want to be connected to the people I love. What does that mean?
Right. Okay, so here's what that means. Every single being, unless you're a 2-year-old connected to your mother, unless you're a child who's connected for a reason to the mother source, you are a sovereign divine being. Each one of us, going back to I am that I am, there's nobody out there. So if that's the bottom line premise and foundational belief, well then it is about me being connected to divine source energy and nothing else. Period. Just that's it. I'm connected to source, connected to the earth, and nothing else.
And no one else.
And nothing, no one, anything, whatever.
Right.
All of it.
Yeah.
Everything, nothing. Yeah.
Everything and nothing.
Everything and nothing.
Yes.
Only source, God, light, source, infinite, cosmic energy, however you like to describe that, and the earth.
Yeah.
So that goes into grounding. We've talked about grounding and doing daily tools, which I have on my YouTube channel, Michal Anna, and so you can check that out for those kind of tools, which has this stuff in it, like removing transmuted energies, cutting cords.
Right.
So cutting cords is that we don't want to be thinking about, I don't want to be worrying about my mom or my sister or my brother and thinking, oh God, they do this. Oh no, they're not going to do that. Because now I'm courting energy and I'm not helping.
Right.
If I want to be helpful, I can cut that and pray for them and say, I send them love, that they're going to have everything they need. And then a step further, I know that's the case because I trust in divine wisdom. I have faith in the infinite creator. And I know that as it is spoken, so shall it be. And so I can pray for them, which is far more powerful than wasting my energy, igniting worry, distress, frustration, and then focusing that on my friend or my brother or my sister. So if we cut all cords, we get connected to our infinite source light, which then gets to navigate how we show up in the rest of the world, with the goal that every chakra, every part of the being is really of divine will, not of my own will, but of divine will, operating in the consciousness of that unity field. So we're cutting away things that do not serve so that we can be connected to the field of unity, to infinite source light, and then can help one another to reflect that at a greater level rather than play the game of illusion. So we I know that gets deep.
You went down another corridor.
We won't go down that rabbit hole now.
We'll come back to that
another day. But let's say this about that. Let's do it now. We're going to so basically you're just claiming your own sovereignty. It doesn't mean you're not there for your wife, your brother, your lover, whoever. You are, in fact, it means instead of connecting on these lower chakra levels, either first to the seventh, it means I'm going to go all the way to God and just connect with you there. That's where I'm going to connect with you.
I also want to add a word to what you're saying, which maybe people can connect to, which is it's very empowering to do this. And when you empower yourself, you're also empowering others to empower them. And the more we are empowered, the higher our vibration, the more I start get tingly. There's just a joyfulness in that, where when it's I'm worried about you or they're worried about me, that doesn't bring us up. That doesn't lift anybody up, right? I mean, yeah. So
we've talked about that vibrational chart of emotions. If we're resonating in those lower vibrational frequencies, which all of those are, frustration, worry, anxiety, we're down in these like frustrating energies. So that's lower level energies. So we can't really bring the magic, bring the fire if we're down here resonating in that. No, we want to come up here because that's what we want for our friend, our lover, our sister, our brother. We want the good stuff. So if we want the good stuff for everyone else, we can create the good stuff within ourselves, because then we vibrate it. Because back to that foundational belief, if there's nobody out there and I am that I am, then obviously it's of utmost importance what I put my focus upon. Yes?
Very much so. Very much so.
So let's cut those cords.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and do that right now. So we just ask your guides here and now to just cut all cords to all sentient beings and just connecting them to the God of their heart as you are connected to the God of yours. And you can inhale and exhale, intentionalizing it to be so. You can use your hands if you like. Sounds are great. Use them. Use your breath. Use your voice. Claim it and let it be so. So you're releasing things from you. Now also, this gets into the devices on energy management. So let's say I have my phone in front of me here, or I'm about to make a call. So before I'm going to get on to that call, I'm going to want to protect my energy. So I've released stuff, but why did I even have anything on me? Well, because I wasn't like paying attention. I didn't like put on any shielding. I didn't do anything. I just went out there and like, sorry. So now I'm going to I want a vibrational field. Let's just put a protective shield of love, light, energy around my being. See it reflecting all things like a mirror back to source love and infinite light. Nothing can enter except for love, light, compassion, grace, joy, peace. Period. Now you're like, boom, I'm in this. Okay, now I'm going to start my work day. I have let's say you have let's say you do you're a realtor and you have X amount of things you have to do on the computer, or you're an office manager, or you're a hotel, whatever. So you're going to be doing various projects. So before I get on these old devices, I know that they also have electric energy,
Right.
and they're connecting into my energy field. As we said, they're reading my biometrics. It's navigating and actually interfacing with my brain, and that, as we were talking about, that left side of the brain. In fact, maybe it's starting, it's mushing it out. So right, so these are what could happen. We get off the computer, you're like groggy. God,
Yeah.
I've been on the computer so right. So before you get on that thing, you're like, okay, I'm gonna put a little shield. I'm gonna be doing some work here, so I just put a little clearing shield, just connecting to me. Now I get into my project. I work, I connect, I deal with Mr. Morganson, whatever. I have the Morganson deal. I've got all these files up and open. But just like on your computer, you wouldn't leave a bunch of windows open.
Yeah.
Or if you're in your house, I wouldn't start cooking something on my stove and then have Eila come over and visit me and while I'm cooking, and then go start painting something outside.
Right.
I'm going to close everything up,
things,
right?
yeah.
So energetically, we want to close that. Like, okay, I had that great conversation with Mr. Morganson. His things are done. I acknowledge I did ABC. Thank you for that conversation. And I'm just going to close the energy and see all of it as manifesting and being done. Put that to the side. Close the window, like your computer. Close the energetic window. Otherwise, you're going to have smoke wafting. I'm trying to have tea with Eila. My spaghetti's burning. The paint's drying on my brush over there. Like, that's not good. No, whatever. So we
Right.
want to close stuff up. So we want to finish a project and get into the next one. Energetically, we do this in the physical world. We think, well, of course I wouldn't do that. No, you wouldn't. But we don't think about that in the energetic world. You leave things open, thoughts
Right.
open, energies
Right.
open. Well, I just run. Now that's running. Well, it's pulling energy from you, actually, because it's that little.
And it might just be leaking a little bit.
Leaking
It
a
doesn't
little bit,
mean
yep.
you're at the end of your life or anything.
Of
It's
course
just,
not.
We don't want to be too dramatic. It's just that it's about managing your energy.
Correct.
And
We're
we've talked
talking
about that a lot.
management.
Yeah.
Correct. So we're talking subtle energies. We're
Yeah.
not talking. I'm not talking about you're dying or life-threatening.
Right,
things.
right. It's
We're
just
just
that
talking
it's-
about energy
it's
management,
leaking out.
subtle energies, dealing with energetics and devices. So we can close each thing as we move and utilize the tool, remembering they're a tool, right? And so we treat it as such. We use it as a tool. We don't rely on it as our end all. We allow our brains, instead of going to like, well, I'll just ask Siri. Maybe I'm going to, well, you know what? Let me ponder that thought. A lot of people aren't taking time to just sit with their own thoughts about
Right.
a topic, right? You're
Right.
going straight in to get the info. Well, think about what you might think of it first. And really ask some questions within yourself. Maybe even connect go on a walk and ask the answers of the infinite computer around you, which
Right.
is nature, which is really what AI is mimicking. As we said, it's mimicking the human brain. It's mimicking us, which is already perfect, divine, and as you said earlier, telepathic, creative, and awake. What AI doesn't have is our creativity.
Right.
So it would make sense that AI would want to merge with us. Because we have all these batteries and creative light going on. And so,
We're going to take a break. How's that sound?
ponder that.
Ponder that. All right.
The revitalized Javi Farmers Market has actively been bringing together local artisans to sell their produce, freshly baked goods, honey, jewelry, lemonades, cheeses, and pottery. We're excited to continually welcome new vendors and visitors to enjoy a unique to North Kohala experience. The Javi Farmers Market is held every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Kohala Village Hub's entrance. We kindly ask for your continued cooperation with social distancing and proper face mask use while experiencing the colorful choices our Javi Farmers Market has to offer. For more information, visit our Javi Farmers Market Facebook page.
I'm a woman. Oh, yeah. I'm a woman. I'm a ball of fire.
Women's Voices on KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala with your host Eila Allgood. I'm proud to say that I've been doing this show now for 6 years, and I still find amazing songs and spoken words by female artists from right here in Kohala and around the world. Tune in to 96.1 FM or stream live at www.knkr.org. Welcome back. This is KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. You're listening to Intuitive Talk Story with Eila Allgood and
Michal Anna.
And we were talking a lot about energy management and AI, and something came up for me. One of the things I used to love to do when my kids became teenagers and didn't really want to talk to me a whole lot is we always connected around music. And I would enjoy like talking to them and saying, I'm trying to remember this song. And it sort of has these words and it sounds a little bit like this. And maybe you'd call them and ask them, I'd ask for, do you remember that song? And it would turn into a conversation, right? With someone maybe I didn't have a lot in common with back then. And now I can just Google the first 5 words of the song and I find the song and I think about that and I'm like, it was kind of more fun involving somebody else.
Yeah, you had to get together and ask.
Yeah,
you had to find the
and having conversation to get to that answer, and you'd be kind of frustrated because you couldn't get to it, and then anyway.
And you bring up a good point. You had to want it.
You had to want it.
Yeah, you had to be hungry.
You had to be hungry.
Where's the hunger? I'm not seeing a lot of hunger sometimes. I really love hungry students. As a teacher, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah. Well, so let's move. Speaking of hunger and food, brings up the idea of immunity and
with your management.
And that is a form of energy management. It's maybe a very tangible form because it's in our body. But it's really come up for me lately because of different views and differences around food and thoughts, the power of thoughts, and what's going to help us to be healthy moving forward. And we are all in our own reality, but there are some kind of general things that we can do to enhance our bodies, to make them the strongest they can be as we are coming out of a pandemic. I think it's important for us to remember that it's important that we take care of our bodies regardless of I'm trying to say everything without saying what I don't want to say, which gets really hard. Anyway,
there's a lot of choices being made.
There's a lot of choices being made
in the health realm, and what people want to do with their health, and how they want to treat their immune systems, and what we believe is right about our natural immunity, or in taking things that we perceive will help our immunity, or whatever. Right. We're all making different choices. The bottom line, I think you're saying, is regardless of what choices you're making, remember we have to support our physical body with good foods, with exercise, with water, with clean air. There's no guarantees. There's no get out of jail free cards, no matter what choices you make. And you need to build your immune system. And you can do that, too, by extra layering of immune building things. There are immune building herbs. Some of my favorites, again, I'm not a nutritionist, but I am a health practitioner, an energetic body worker, and that sort of thing. I do spiritual coaching and counseling, so I'll say that before I say that. But my mother is a nutritionist. That olive leaf, elderberry, and echinacea are 3 of my favorites. They're pretty much all the same thing, just which one your body likes best.
And what about turmeric? Turmeric's
Turmeric is great, but it's not what I just said.
No. I know.
Turmeric is more for inflammation, but coupled with black pepper specifically. Without the black pepper, it doesn't really activate the same quality. So that, and ginger, but ginger and turmeric, for ginger as more building capacity for that. Both are going to help for sure. But I would do those. And throw in an immune herb. We actually do drink ginger, turmeric, honey tea daily anyway. Like that's like a normal thing. And then I if I'm feeling any sort of like, I just start taking immune herbs. But I do suggest, as a practitioner with my clients, I have suggested for people, especially honestly, if you're, when we're making choices to get vaccinated, doing those things, there's injection of things going into the body when one is making that choice,
Right.
that you do have to fight. So it is important to build immune. With any vaccination, you actually do need to build your immune system. It's a smart thing to do. But it definitely is of massive value to build the immune system and to be aware of that.
Right. So there's the building the immune system on a physical level, and then supporting that with what you think, how you think, and
what you put in your mouth.
Yeah. Well, that's the physical level.
Right. For sure.
No. I'm talking about the
mind. Now we're going to mind, body, spirit. So
right.
Body,
like, what are you thinking
mind.
when you're eating? When you're eating the whole food, the whole healthy food, are you thinking this is horrible? I don't like this,
right.
Or are you thinking this is so good for me? My body is just going to be stronger and healthier now. I mean, that's what I'm doing with the foods, because some of them are boring. Yes, food is boring sometimes. It's okay, but it's giving me something that I want it to give me, so that I can be here with you now and feel fabulous and feel strong and feel energetic and do all the wonderful things that I'm on this planet to do. So anyway, that
energy flows where attention goes.
Yeah.
So if I'm sitting, anything I do, I can't do it if I'm feeling bad about myself, because in essence, you just canceled out any goodness. I mean, it's like a person, even if you're going to have a soda, I don't really drink soda, but let's just say you're like, I'm going to have a soda. Have a soda. Have the soda. Enjoy the heck out of that soda. Like, man, I'm having a soda.
Don't talk bad about it.
I'm loving it. I'm going to enjoy it. This is going to be great. If you're going to do it 100%. Whatever it is, do it 100%. Own it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're doing, I shouldn't really be drinking this. This isn't really good for me. You are literally putting the vibration of this isn't good for me. I shouldn't be doing this into your
whatever
body
it is,
while you're drinking it, which isn't serving you at all, right? So then you really can't do it. Well, then you shouldn't be having the soda.
Yeah.
You can't have it. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you have to get in alignment with your decisions. You have to get in alignment with where you want to go. So that comes back to choice and navigating with our conscious mind, which really gets back into reprogramming. Because the reason why many people aren't doing that is because we are running a lot of programs. We're running lots of things that are keeping us from even seeing that that's even happening.
Well, and it could have to do with how we were raised. In our family,
Absolutely.
we always had birthday cake, and we always did this at Christmas, and we always did this in the summer, and we ate these foods. And now you find out those foods are like really not good for your body. And yet the rest of the family are indulging in those, and you're heading down another path. How do you deal with that? And first you have to deal with it with you.
Right.
Because what I have found is when I am very clear with me about my boundaries and what's important to me, other people aren't challenging me. It's when I'm wishy-washy.
That's right.
It's when I'm like,
you're owning your power.
I don't know if I really want to do this. It's so hard. When I'm like that, then somebody's going to creep into that energy and match it with more doubt. So it's for anyone who's out there listening and thinking, I really want to improve my eating, go ahead and do it, and do it to the best of your ability, and make no apologies for it.
I'm Latina. I come from my grandmother put lard in the beans. That was the way you did it. The Crisco, the shortening.
Crisco, my
we
God.
bake, you put the shortening in there. I mean, all that. So, you do have to change with the times and make decisions that, that's probably not so good for me anymore.
Yeah.
And make different choices. And as you do, like you said, when you make a choice and you own it for yourself, well, then that's all it takes, because nothing can be taken from you. You have the power, and you only give your power away. So I like to say, when we stand in our truth, we actually give everyone else the opportunity around us to stand in their truth as well.
Absolutely. That is so true, and I've seen that more and more lately, maybe because I'm more and more doing that for myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And And that is empowering to other people.
That's right.
Where they get to be the light that they are, because no one out here is any better or worse than anyone else. We're all on our journeys. We're all doing the best we can on our
Back to this, because if
On our
the
triangle.
foundational belief is we're not in duality, because in duality is hierarchy. So nobody's better and no one's,
Right.
that's like inherent in our baseline philosophy. So if you jump from that point, then that's already gone.
Yes.
You're already noticing that doesn't even have to be there, because then I'm in duality. If I'm even thinking about comparing myself to anyone or any of those things, I'm in duality. I got to go here. So I have to go back to being the observer. The observer, they seek to understand, the impartial observer that can see and acknowledge all of my pieces, all of my parts, and without judgment or defense. And that means I've healed the pieces that are sometimes preventing me from seeing that.
Yes, and I want to say that, as we've been talking about different things, one of the things that I realize is I was worried about somebody yesterday, and it's like, no matter how much I know, I'm still going to be working through these things. Maybe I don't worry as much as I used to worry about situations. Maybe it doesn't come up for me very often, but I was still in that worry place for a while, and then I'm like, that's not going to help anything. So where do you want to go from here? Like, I have these little conversations with myself, and it's like, okay, send them love, send them light, say prayers for them. I do what I believe is helpful, sending positive energy to that person, and then let it go and let them go, because they're on their path, and they need to have their experiences just like you've had your experiences. Nobody can take that away from us. We can enrich and enhance one another, and empower one another to say, yes, you're gonna be able to get through this. It's going to be okay. I know it's not so easy right now, but me worrying about it is not going to, like you said, it's not going to help them any. So I share that because I think it's important for people to know out there that wherever you are on your path is exactly where you're supposed to be. And we're all doing the best we can each moment of the day.
Absolutely. No judgment. Back to that. No judgment. Everyone is doing the best they can. And it's a choice. Like, there's no race. There's no right or wrong. It's a river of light, a river of love, a river of life flowing. And we're just drops within the river. And we're all flowing at different places within the river. There's no right place to be within the river, right? So one cannot judge another's journey, right? And so part of when you were talking about that, all of those things, again, we engage in that worry of something because everyone's a mirror. They're just you. So whatever you're reacting to and making you worry is actually in you. It's actually yours. And if you can see, where is that happening for me? What am I really worried about? Am I worried that they'll be like, you can kind of take it to big, broad issues. Like, if you really think about the core of what we get into core wounding, right? You're talking about our separation from God, our separation from like the beginning, like we became like separate from source. Here we are, manifest. Like, am I going to be forever separate? Am I going to be abandoned by God?
Yeah.
These big issues.
Big
Big questions.
Yeah.
But to go outside, you just have to realize there are more things at play than just what you perceive might be the issue. Really, most of the time, whatever's in front of you is not actually why you feel the way you feel. It's hit something deeper. It's activating a deeper feeling, and you are projecting it onto the experience you're having in this moment. If you allow yourself to use it as a mirror, you take the information, you take the stuff with you, and you look at it, and you go, what's in me? What is that? Ooh, that's mine. Ooh, God, I do that. Oh, wow, I think I act like that. I think I've done that pattern, right?
Yeah.
And you go, oh, I really don't want to engage in that. I'm going to use that. I don't want to act like that. I don't have to say anything to the person. I just learned it from myself. I don't care what you do, but I'm choosing different. I'm going to start going a different route. Thank you for showing me. I don't want to be a jerk. I'm going to make a different choice because I just saw myself. whatever it is, right? That's just an example. But taking that first. So again, and then back to our energy examples earlier about clearing. So this gets into a foundational practice where you go, every time something's happening, I'm going to go to my spiritual tools because I am a spirit having a physical experience, and I reside in the power of 3, and I seek to stand in neutrality and be the observer. So because you're also being influenced by the show you watched last night, the thing that you just read on the email, the thread, the person that you just talked to, the things from society you just thought about.
Right.
Okay, so
the news.
Right. All of that's influencing all the pieces of yourself.
Right.
So if you can first use your tools and clear your energy, clear your cords, clear transcendent energies, be present, like I am not attached to anything. And there's way more than this. Like I do, been as an energy worker, I've been finding amazing things on people, galactic things, crazy things. You guys will think it's crazy, but at any rate, it's amazing. And those are fourth dimensional kind of energetics, but they show up as all sorts of things, daggers, things, da 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 da. There's a lot of connectors. So you want to cut those connectors off of your being, left and right shoulders, back of your head. You can just wipe your body off. Think I'm just disconnecting from anything that's not me. And if you're doing that as a daily practice, and I actually, I think I shared, and I want to teach that to you, this power of 3 work, which is basically a physical, work to clear yourself in that manner. But doing something of that nature each day and just clearing off your energy and claiming your own sovereignty. I am free, I am sovereign, I am love, and I am present here and now. Let I walk with grace and ease. Whatever you want to claim. Today I'm going to be kind. Today I'm going to be patient.
So you saying that really brings to mind the fact that the anxiety I told you I experienced driving to Kona today had nothing to do with me, but it was someone expressed anxiety to me yesterday. And although I didn't feel it in that moment, I was like, that person's going through what they're going through, and I love them and I send them love. But I did not clear, and I really do feel that it kind of stayed with me as I was moving through my day, and I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, why am I so anxious? My whole body's like tense, and I don't feel that way now, but I did some clearing before coming here because I feel it's very important when I'm here with you and we're in this realm that personal stuff I kind of leave at the door. That not that I won't talk about it, but that I'm not carrying it. I want to be clear and clean when I'm here because I want to bring through whatever's going to benefit everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was you
so
speaking
great
about
revelation.
that was very connected the dots.
Awesome.
Connected the dots.
And that's a reminder that when things happen, it's not necessarily like, oh no, I messed up and I failed. No, it's to teach us.
Yes.
We get to learn,
It's another
that's
moment.
how it works.
Yes.
Oh, that's what happened. That's exciting. So we get excited about learning. We get excited about unraveling and taking the pieces off because it's fun. It's fun to be empowered. It's fun to be free. It's fun to be alive and to have control of this body, mind, spirit vessel and be able to activate it with one another. Like how exciting is that? So you see there that you're just engaging in somebody else's energy and all you really had to do was clear it. And that's the reminder for all of us out there. You help your friend. Well, they just felt better with you. And so subconsciously, we just do this. We I felt so good with Eila. If I could just think of Eila again, I'll feel even better. Unconsciously, I'm not thinking, I'm not trying to do something to you, but I might I felt so good with her.
But that's a little bit of a,
so what happens, this is what I'm telling you, is that people unconsciously cord people because I had an experience of getting to God with you.
Yes.
We're all trying to get to God and experience unity. So anytime we have an experience of feeling just anything, that connection, that grace, we subconsciously, if we are not conscious energetically, we are going to subconsciously cord one another because, I just want to get there again.
Yes.
So as we become more conscious, we don't cord individuals, nor do we hold cords, and we navigate our own mind,
we can
body,
hold
vessel.
space for people to have their experiences and be there and holding that space. But that doesn't mean we have to take in that energy of whatever it is. And some people are more sensitive to energy than other people and can feel it maybe more
Absolutely.
immediately, or take it in quicker, or whatever. So it's really important that we are willing to hold the space, willing to be there with one another, and also keep that boundary and clear ourselves after that encounter.
And
Yeah.
basically, it's the more we all, as we grow, we basically claim our energy. What's mine is mine. What's yours is yours.
Yes.
And that gets into the inner work too. Like if you're in relationshiping, what's mine is mine. What's yours is yours. That's not mine. Work on yourself. This is mine. I'll work on that. Right.
Yes.
So we can't do it for one another. It's not my job to do your work. It's not your
Right.
job to do my work. And so we need to stay in your own lane.
Stay in your own lane, be
connected
compassionate.
to source light.
Yes.
And be present to be there for one another, because ultimately the goal is whole beings. You want to be a
Yes.
whole being, not a half looking for another half to be completed, but two
Not like the
wholes.
movies. Yes.
Not like the movies, but two wholes that come together to be infinite if you're
Yeah.
in talking relationship, or one whole to be infinite on your own, because it's really not about having a partner, or you are actually, what we're really doing is finding the balance in relationship with the masculine, feminine within our own divine self, coming into wholeness. And at that point, everything else gets to be, it's more like ice cream on the cake, or it's helping us get there, right? It's our reflection. Relationshiping is often a reflection to help us see what we need to learn about.
Well, Michal, this has been an energized talk about energy today. And this is Intuitive Talk Story with Eila Allgood and
Michal Anna.
And we thank you for listening and watching and being involved, and giving us the space to share what we're here to share. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. And please do check out our resources. They have a lot more talks that expand on these things if you're interested in them. You can visit Michal Anna on YouTube, MichalAnna.